All right, so the last week we came to art, we were drawing on our final drawing paper. We talked about the rule of thirds and that our subject had to touch at least one of those 4 points. Our challenge was to draw lightly, draw really large, and really fill up the whole space and talk about what quality is my artwork. So our other challenge for today is I want you to finish drawing the rest of your artwork in Sharpie. If you did not get to finish drawing it, that is a challenge. And do not worry if you cannot erase. If you ever make an oops, please try to find some way to turn it into something beautiful, or come and ask me because I always have an idea. So as you can see, I have not finished outlining in Sharpie, and I've also not finished adding some of my shapes. I'm just gonna do it confidently in Sharpie. And carefully using your Sharpie, please make sure you're not pressing way too hard because that hurts our Sharpie. And I want to add some details, but I haven't drawn it in pencil, but it's okay. I'm just going to confidently draw and take my time. All right, so I'm going to go throughout my artwork and continue outlining everything, and I will be right back. So I finished outlining everything in Sharpie, and the last thing I'm going to outline is my name. We originally wrote it in pencil, but now we want to make sure we see it again. So I trace over in Sharpie, and taking your big eraser at your table, you are going to go and erase every pencil line that you see, like right here, and I'm going to go back and erase my rule of thirds now at this time. All right, so I just finished erasing all of my pencil. I missed a few spots, and make sure you dust off all those little eraser shavings because we no longer want them, and we are good to go. So today for color, make sure and also double check that you've outlined everything in Sharpie. And today to add color, we are going to use color pencils. Now these are not just like any old regular color pencils. These are actually watercolor color pencils. Now the rule is for today you must finish coloring everything you need to color first, and then after that then you may turn it into watercolor, but you have to finish coloring first. Now some of these pencils, you'll notice that they're a little bit dull, so at your table you have a pencil sharpener. Now there's 2 holes. You want to make sure you use the smaller hole, and when you put in the smaller hole, all you have to do is twist it a few times. Don't jam it inside, but twist, and you can see it slowly sharpening. And if it ever gets too full, please carefully go over the trash can, and if you lift up this black lid or top, it'll come off and dump that into the trash can. But right now it's not too full, so I'm still good. And when I'm using the color pencils, I'm using one color at a time. I actually don't need green, so I think I would like to use this blue because I'm gonna try and stick with patriotic colors. Now, speaking of colors, for my artwork, I'm gonna stick with patriotic colors like red, white, and blue. So I'm probably gonna use 3 colors in my artwork, but if you wanna use brown, for example, for your bald eagle, if you wanna use green, that's fine, it's up to you. But I'm gonna stick with red, white, and blue. Now, because we don't have a white color pencil, I'm actually gonna leave some of my artwork uncolored because I'm gonna use the white on the paper as my color white. So if you choose to leave something white, it's for an artistic purpose and not because you're too lazy to color it. So let's be mindful and think of the quality work that we're making today. So with our color pencil, I'm gonna pick one direction to color in, not side to side and up and down, but I'm gonna color side to side, and maybe I'll color something different. Now I'm kind of sticking with the same pressure. I'm coloring kind of light right now. If you choose to color, so this is coloring light, and if you choose to color really dark, you can see the difference, but keep it consistent. Don't color really dark and then really light. Kind of keep it consistent or the same. So I've chosen to color pretty light, and notice when I get to the edges I kind of slow down because I want that color to stay in that particular area. And a little helpful tip is When you do want to color the edges, it's okay to go in a different direction. So I'm kind of coloring diagonally. And if you color in a different direction in a little space, it's not as easy to see, but it definitely is confusing if you color in all different directions on the whole thing. So it is a little bit easier to color the edges of something in a different direction. So for my artwork, it's easier for me to color up and down when I get close to the sides. So I'm going to finish coloring mindfully, and then we'll see what the artwork looks like. All right, so I did want to mention two things. I was coloring way too hard and the tip broke off, so I started coloring a little bit lighter. If that happens, please just make sure you throw it away and not throw it on the floor. And the second thing I wanted to talk about is if you are ever missing a color in your bucket, please make sure that you look around and see that it's just not on the floor or underneath something. If you really need a color, try and wait patiently, or you may go and ask another table to borrow the color. Please ask them nicely first before you just grab it. I unfortunately don't have any replacement colors, so you're just gonna have to share. And please make sure you return it after you're using that color to the table that you borrowed it from. Now, as I'm coloring, you'll notice I'm coloring close to the edge of my paper, so I'm working on my cardboard. We call that our messy mat. So instead of coloring on the table and getting color pencil on the table, we get it on the cardboard, and it can get messy on there. That's why it's called our messy mat. So try and work on your messy mat today to avoid getting your table a little bit dirty. So I have finished coloring all of my artwork. I've taken my time, I didn't rush, I double checked my artwork, really asked myself, is this quality coloring? Am I ready to move on to the next step? When you think you are finished, you are ready to turn your color pencil into watercolor. That's kind of like the best part. So you no longer need your color pencils. Using the tray at your table, you will see that you have a black basket, a towel to dry off your brush, which we've used before, your water cup, and your paintbrush. Now today your water won't get that dirty, so you don't have to change out your water too often, which is a good thing because that saves on time. Make sure your water basket always stays on your tray in case it tips over. So to turn, let's move some of our stuff so we have room. To turn our color pencil into watercolor, all you need is water, and I'm working on my messy mat still. Just simply dip your brush into the water. You don't need a whole lot, and you can see that just the tiniest bit of water will turn it into paint. I'm gonna wipe, and all you're gonna do is glide your brush with the water over your color pencil. Notice how I'm still painting in one direction, painting mindfully. When I get to the edge, I kind of slow down and paint in a different direction, so it's a little bit easier there. But I'm still mainly painting in one direction, and look at how the color pencil just kind of magically turns into paint. And it's really, really beautiful to see how it changes. Now, there's not a lot of water on my paint or on my paper. It's not soaking wet, it's not dripping wet, it's just barely wet. So you really don't need a whole lot of water to turn it into watercolor. So I'm just taking my time. When you want to change to a different color, I still wash out my brush and dry it off a little bit and wet it again. And if I'm going into smaller areas, I'm gonna use the tippy toes of my brush. Please make sure when we're painting mindfully and using our brush like a ballerina. Remember, our brush never scoots on their bum. They always dance on their tippy toes. So when I am painting in a smaller area of my artwork, I'm really trying to use the tippy toes, and I'm controlling the brush. Kind of like when we painted our plates for our weaving, we talked about what type of way are we holding our brush. If we hold it up tall, we're gonna paint kind of skinny and small. If we hold it flat, we paint large areas. So I'm gonna go back and finish the rest of my painting. When you are finished painting, please make sure your brush is clean and dry, and you return it up like this with the hair facing up. And remember, the hair is facing up so that we don't smash it when it's facing down.